Got some really positive injury news from Mikel Arteta. Of course, he was speaking ahead of the Burnley trip, the press conference ahead of our trip to Turf Moor on Saturday, 3 o'clock UK time. And look, we're waiting to hear about Martin Odegaard, about Kai Havertz, about Jesus and Madueke. Two of those players. I mean, Jesus has been out all calendar year. Kai Havertz has been out since the first game of the season away, Old Trafford, Man United, first game of the season. Odegaard, of course, has got this knee injury. His third injury of the season. Noni Madueke got a knee injury after he was finding his best form coming off against Man City at half-time. Anyway, you know, we've been waiting to find out, because while the squad's in good shape, while, you know, we're still able to make 10 changes for the Brighton game in the Carabao Cup and still go out with a really strong team, you want these players available. You know, Gyökeres could benefit from some competition and some rest as well, with the likes of Havertz and Jesus, both of them offering something completely different to what Gyökeres offers, and offering something very different to what they offer each other. And then you've got players like, you know, Noni Madueke, who, you know, could he be a left-footed outlet on the left wing for us when Bukayo Saka's in this kind of form and give us something different there? Could he allow for Bukayo Saka to have a little bit more rest? Odegaard and Eze, we want to see them together in a midfield three. We saw that against West Ham. But could we see it with Eze on the left too? There's so much this Arsenal squad can do. But of course, we're a touch more limited when you've got four players of that stature in the squad all out. Now, what was Arteta's update? That he believes that some of them could be back pretty soon. Some of them could be weeks away. And he is looking towards having most of them back after the international break. Now, that does sound quite vague, but let's actually think about this in a bit of detail, because it's actually really encouraging. So, he says some back soon. Does that mean in the next week? I imagine he wouldn't rush them for 3 away trips, Burnley, Slavia Prague and Sunderland, but perhaps. Now, my guess is that Kai Havertz, with what we've been kind of hearing, the rumours and stuff online, I think Kai Havertz is quite close to a return. And I think because of how quiet things have been with Noni Madueke, I get the feeling he's not that far away. He got injured, mid-September? We're probably, you know, in a couple of weeks, we're sort of at mid-November. I would say that there's a good chance that Madueke and Havertz are back within the next few weeks. Whether they get on the pitch before the international break, I don't know. But I'm actually pretty confident they'll be back after the international break. Now, Odegaard, again, was a similar situation. But the thing is, because you've got Eze and Waneri, they might not rush him. And he's had a series of other injuries. So they might take a little bit longer with him. This is just my opinion, by the way. I'm only speculating off what Arteta said. Gabi Jesus is the one that I'm less sort of encouraged by in terms of a quick return, because he had an ACL injury. He's been out since January. He himself, there'll be quite a bit of, you know, making sure that he's kind of up to speed, especially with the amount of options we've got in the squad. They will not be rushing him. So I think it's probably nearer the Christmas period that we see Jesus back, and I don't anticipate him getting a start in any game until maybe at best that Carabao Cup quarter-final, which would actually be ironic after he scored the hat-trick against Palace again in the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup a year ago. So what a return that could be for him, just as he was finding form a year ago and he goes and gets this injury, which was a real shame. Now, anyway, to recap, I think there's a good chance that Madueke and Havertz are back soon. I think there's a chance that they play before the international break, but I don't expect it. But I'm pretty confident that they're going to be back after the international break. Odegaard in and around that time, maybe a touch longer, and Jesus, I'm thinking near the Christmas period. But this is just my opinion based on what Arteta said. He's said that, you know, again, he was so vague. He's gone, you know, hopefully some of them soon, hopefully some of them in a few weeks. He also said, you know, after the international break, maybe some, maybe all of them, but probably some of them. You know, that was kind of the way he was speaking. Very vague, as you can imagine. And I don't think there's that pressure coming from the media to get the answers because of how stacked the squad is. I mean, basically, we rotated our whole midfield and our whole back four the other day. Eze started, cool, but he started in a different position. And you've got the likes of Harry Mananous and Darwin who were all able to play too. Now, that is regarding those four players. Then there was an interesting update around Martinelli and Saliba. He said that Saliba is touch and go. There's a chance he'll be available for Burnley, which is good. If he's fit, or if he's 50-50, should he play? Because Saliba came in a little bit from the cold against Newcastle, didn't he? No, sorry, against Man City. And I actually thought he struggled in that game. I don't think he was quite at it. But we ended up then starting Mosquera the week after against Newcastle. And then we took him off at half-time for Saliba as well. So it's a conundrum. It's a difficult one. I think Mosquera has proven that he's up to this level, more than up to this level. And, you know, people, I saw on the timeline, people were saying, how are Nketiah and Mosquera, they're backup centre-backs. I've never known depth like it. So fair play to Berta, Arteta and the recruitment team for that. But I'd be inclined, if Saliba isn't 100%, I'm inclined to start Mosquera. In fact, I think I'd start Mosquera either way. Even if Saliba is fit, I'd say that's fine. Take it easy. We'll play for Slavia Prague and Sunderland away, because that Sunderland away trip's going to be tricky. I'm not saying Burnley won't be either, but Mosquera, I believe, can handle it. So I'd go for Mosquera and Gabriel at the back for this game, and I would ultimately just leave Saliba on the bench. Then the Martinelli update as well. So Martinelli, he's basically ruled out already. Now, what has Martinelli got? Because it all happened a bit suddenly, didn't it? I'm trying to think back the games. Scored against Atletico Madrid. Wasn't available for Brighton. Right, he came on. Sorry, so he came on against Palace, didn't he? On the right wing for Bukayo Saka. And that's it. We don't really know what happened. He didn't come off after that. He didn't come on and then come off. We've just sort of been told by Arteta that he's not available. We don't really know why. Again, because of the options we've got, you know, Eze can play on the left with Waneri in the 10. Trossard can play on the left. You've got Saka, you've got Dalman, who looks brilliant. You know, you sort of think, okay, well, we're pretty relaxed about it. But it's a little bit of a shame. I mean, Martinelli was starting to look bright. Played really well against Atletico Madrid. Decent cameo against Palace. Whenever he's come on this season, looked quite bright. Obviously, got the equaliser against City. Got the opening goal away in Bilbao. So, you know, it's a shame not to have him. But let's hope he's fit and available soon. So actually, now that you think about it, so what would the 11 be? So it will be Trossard on the left, won't it? With Eze in the 10 and Gyökeres up front. So we are getting out that same 11 or that same sort of set of combinations that we've been seeing in the last few weeks. But, you know, the impact off the bench, yeah, probably Dalman. Am I missing anyone? Like Dalman, Waneri. Probably Harriman and Oos might have to be on the bench again unless other players are fit, back and available. So, yeah, probably a load of defenders. He'll probably have the whole of, like, White, Saliba, Nketiah, lewis-skelly will probably all be on the bench. So that's 4, plus your goalkeeper, Kepa's 5. So you need, what do you need, 4 more? So Waneri, Dalman, Harriman and Oos, and maybe another youngster. No, Marina. Of course, Marina would be on the bench as well. So, yeah. Okay, so actually, we would actually still have a pretty strong bench, which just speaks to the depth of this squad, doesn't it? So to round it all up very quickly, because I started with the 4 main players who have been out for a long time. The main news is Saliba touch and go for the weekend. Martinelli out. Havertz, Madueke, Jesus and Odegaard could be back after the international break. Remember, we face Tottenham at home, then we face Bayern Munich at home, and then Chelsea away. Those are the 3 games that greet us after the international break. That's going to be tough. Let's hope we've got those players fit and available, because we need to put together a run. We need to keep winning our games in the Champions League, climbing that table, cementing our place at the top of this domestic Premier League table. But let's see if Arsenal are up to it. First things first, beat Burnley, and then we'll worry about everything else in the days after that. All right, hope you've enjoyed this video. Go subscribe to Goonerverse News if you haven't, and the Goonerverse, and I'll be back with more content on both channels tomorrow after the Burnley game.